All right, let's jump into Onyx Storm, book 3 in Rebecca Yarros' Empyrean series.
Yeah, it's got people talking, that's for sure.
Over 82,000 ratings, averaging 4.38 stars. That's gotta mean something.
Definitely. Strong reactions usually mean a book's doing something right.
For sure, for sure. So, just to get everyone up to speed, this is Violet's story, right? Powerful sorceress, still running from some pretty serious enemies.
Right, and of course there's Exodin. Their relationship, well, let's just say it's a big part of what keeps people coming back to this series.
The chemistry is definitely a huge draw. And a lot of the reviews mention that, how intense the whole story felt, fast-paced plot, lots of twists and turns, that kind of thing.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat.
One person even said they needed a whole year to recover.
Yeah.
Like emotionally.
Wow. Talk about our impact, huh? Sound like Yarros knows how to write those books you can't put down.
But it wasn't all positive, right?
No, for sure not. Some readers felt kind of let down, and they had some pretty specific criticisms. Well, a lot of them mentioned repetition, like they were seeing the same conflicts and character stuff from the first 2 books all over again.
Ah, so not enough new ground.
And there were some comments about Violet herself, too. Like some people wanted to see her grow more as a character.
Instead of just being told she's changed, they wanted to see it, right?
Exactly. That whole show, don't tell thing, always a tough balance for writers, especially in a series.
Definitely. Okay, so there was this one review that really caught my eye. It kind of summed up the whole debate, highlighted the things people loved, but also pointed out some of the problems.
You mean the one where they said they were hooked, but also called out the lack of character development? And how maybe all the steamy scenes were taking over the plot?
Yeah, that's the one. This reader clearly loves these books, but they're also looking for something more. So, is this a case of playing it safe to keep the fans happy? Or are these just creative choices that might end up turning some readers off?
It's an interesting question. I mean, how do you keep things fresh and exciting in a series while still staying true to what people loved in the first place?
Tough question. Another thing that kept popping up was the internal monologue.
Ah, yeah. Some people love that, some people hate it.
Depends on the reader, I guess. All right, so stepping back a bit, what were some of the big themes or ideas that stood out to you from all these reviews?
Well, this idea of wanting more kept coming up. More character growth, more originality in the plot, maybe even more world building. Like people felt the series could be evolving more than it is.
That makes sense. You get to book 3, you start to have certain expectations. Like you want to see the stakes get higher, things get more complex.
For sure, the characters too, right? You want to see them actually grow and change from what they went through.
It makes you wonder what really keeps people invested in a series, right? Is it enough to just deliver on those familiar tropes, those big romantic moments? Or are readers looking for something deeper?
And this series, it's got this whole world that could be explored more, right? There's magic, mythical creatures, a complex political system, a lot of potential there.
Yeah, and some people did comment on the descriptions, especially of the settings, like the palaces and the forests. One person even called the world breathtaking and beautifully brutal.
It's interesting, that contrast. Because there is this beauty to the world, but also this constant sense of danger, like chaos is always lurking around the corner. And for Violet and Xaden, their choices could affect entire nations. The stakes are pretty high.
Speaking of Violet and Xaden, their relationship really drives this series. But the reactions to Violet's character, those were mixed.
Yeah, some people loved her, strong, resilient, all that. But others felt like she was stuck in the same patterns from the earlier books.
Like she's capable of so much more, but she's holding herself back.
It's like the focus on her past traumas, it kind of overshadows any growth she might be experiencing in the present.
There's one comment that really stood out to me. This reader said, Violet seemed more worried about her relationship with Xaden than, actually developing her powers or dealing with those enemies who were out to get her.
Huh. That kind of goes back to that criticism about the romance taking over, right? Like their chemistry is undeniable, but is it overshadowing other parts of the story?
Good point. Okay, and what about Xaden? He's a fan favorite, right? The brooding, mysterious alpha male.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of readers loved that about him. Protective, devoted to Violet, all those classic alpha male qualities.
But even he wasn't immune to criticism, was he?
Nope. Some people found him a bit one-dimensional, like he needed more depth, more complexity.
They wanted to see more of what makes him tick, beyond just his love for Violet.
Right. And there were comments about the dialogue between them, too. Some readers felt like all those I love yous started to get repetitive, like they were missing that deeper emotional connection.
Like they wanted to see the relationship evolve beyond just the grand gestures and the declarations of love.
Exactly. They wanted to see them face challenges together, support each other's growth, that kind of thing.
Now, there were some new secondary characters introduced in this book. Did those make an impact?
It was interesting. Some readers liked them, some found them distracting, like they took away from the main plot.
Professor Kalen, in particular, he seemed to be a bit divisive.
Oh yeah, he was. Brilliant, but also morally ambiguous. You never quite know where his loyalties lie.
Which I guess makes him a pretty compelling character, right?
Definitely. And his relationship with Violet adds another layer of complexity to the story.
Okay, so moving on to the pacing of the story.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed to be a big talking point.
Oh, yeah. Lots of people described it as fast-paced, action-packed, full of twists, like you can't put it down.
But some people found it uneven.
Like some parts felt rushed, others dragged on too long.
Yeah. And one reader even used the word whiplash to describe all the sudden shifts in perspective and location. And, of course, we can't forget that ending. Major cliffhanger.
Cliffhangers are a gamble, right? They can be frustrating, but when they're done well, they really leave you wanting more.
And in this case?
It sounds like it worked. People are already dying to know what happens next.
So it seems like Yarros knows how to keep her readers hooked.
Definitely. She's built a devoted fan base who are really invested in these characters in this world.
It's interesting, though, because even with all the praise for the plot and the romance, that issue of repetition kept coming up.
Yeah, it's a valid criticism. Several reviewers felt like the book rehashed a lot of the same ground from the previous ones, especially when it came to Violet's trauma and her struggles with trust and vulnerability.
It makes you wonder, as an author, how do you find that balance? Giving readers what they loved in the previous books, but also moving the story forward in a new and interesting way.
It's a tough line to walk. One reader even said that certain phrases and descriptions started to feel grating after a while.
Like hearing your favorite song on repeat too many times.
Exactly. Eventually, it loses its magic.
So do you think that's what happened here? Yarros fell into the trap of giving people more of the same because that's what they seem to want. Like, did the series become a victim of its own success?
It's hard to say for sure. Only Yarros knows her intentions. But the criticism is there. And it's something she might want to think about as she continues the series.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where she takes it from here. Will she shake things up or stick with what seems to be working?
We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, the Empyrean series has got people talking, and they're definitely eager to see what happens next.
All right. Well, let's talk about what some of those expectations might be. What are you hoping to see in the next book?
Personally, I'm really hoping for more character development, especially for Violet. I want to see her step into her power and move beyond those past traumas.
Totally agree. There's so much potential there. And I'd love to see more of the world, too. Like, I'm fascinated by the world Yarros has created, but I want to know more about it. The history, the magic system, the different cultures, all of it.
Yeah, expanding that world would really add to the story. And, I'm always up for a good plot twist, something that throws you for a loop.
Absolutely. Those are the best. Okay, well, before we get too carried away with our hopes and dreams for the next book, let's take a quick break and talk about something else exciting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've got to mention Audible.
Right. So if you're looking to experience Onyx Storm in audio format, or if you just want to expand your listening library in general, Audible is offering a 30-day free trial right now. And that includes 2 free audiobooks of your choice.
You can sign up using the link in the episode description. It's a fantastic opportunity to discover new stories and authors through the power of audio.
And as always, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more discussions on books and topics that spark our curiosity. We've talked about the plot, the world, the characters, but let's be real. A lot of the buzz around Onyx Storm is about the romance. And Yarros definitely delivers on that front.
Oh, absolutely. Several reviewers mention needing a cold shower after some of those scenes between Violet and Xaden. Things get pretty steamy.
But even those who loved the heat, they had some critiques. A few readers felt like some of those intimate scenes got a bit repetitive.
Yeah, I can see that. There's a balance, right?
Yeah.
You want to build anticipation, but you don't want to overdo it.
And some people also wished those moments had more emotional depth. Like they loved the passion, but they wanted to see more vulnerability, more tenderness.
It can't all be just physical, right? A good romance, it needs those layers. The trust, the emotional connection, all of that.
So we've talked about the plot, the characters, the world building, the romance. What about the writing itself? Did you notice any recurring comments about Yarrow's style?
Well, like we mentioned before, the internal monologue, that was something people had strong opinions about. Some readers found it a bit much.
Too much time in Violet's head.
Yeah, basically. And there were comments about the dialogue, too. Some people felt like it was a little over the top, not quite how people actually talk.
Not snappy enough.
Not always. And there were a few spots where it felt like the characters were info dumping rather than revealing information naturally.
Yeah, that could be tough, especially in fantasy, right? There's so much you have to explain about the world. But if it feels forced, it can really pull you out of the story.
Definitely. But even with those criticisms, most people agreed that Yarros is a talented storyteller. She knows how to write those plots that keep you hooked, and her characters, you can't help but root for them.
So it sounds like Onyx Storm is a bit of a mixed bag then. It's got its strengths, it's got its weaknesses. Whether you enjoy it or not probably depends on what you're looking for as a reader.
Right. If you love those fast-paced fantasy romances, lots of action, tons of heat, you'll probably have a good time. But if you're looking for deep character development, really nuanced writing, a completely unpredictable plot, you might want to adjust your expectations a little.
I guess the best way to decide is to check out some reviews and see what other readers are saying, see what clicks with you.
Exactly. And even if Onyx Storm doesn't sound like your thing, it's always good to explore different genres, different authors. You never know what hidden gems you might find.
Totally. Okay, so we want to thank everyone for joining us as we explored Onyx Storm. And if you're interested in checking out the audiobook, be sure to click the link in the description. Audible is offering a special deal right now, a 30-day free trial plus 2 free audiobooks of your choice. It's a great way to discover new stories, new authors, and just immerse yourself in the world of audio. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more discussions on books and all the things that make us think. We love hearing from you, so leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of Onyx Storm. Or if there's any other books you'd like us to tackle in future episodes, we're always open to suggestions. Until next time, happy reading and listening.